Hello everyone, my name is Abhishek and welcome back to my channel. So I hope you're all having a great CI/CD week. We already did two videos. One is with Jenkins shared libraries and the other one was with GitHub Actions where we used a self-hosted EC2 instance as a runner for GitHub Actions. But this video, unlike the other two, this is going to be an end-to-end CI setup. So this is not end-to-end CI/CD because last time I did with Jenkins and it took almost 90 minutes and many people felt it very lengthy. So that's why I'm dividing it into two parts. This video will cover GitLab CI and the next video we will do the CD with Argo CD, which is more or less similar with what we did with Jenkins. So this part is very important rather than the other one because deployment you already watched in one of my previous videos, that is ultimate CI/CD pipeline using Jenkins. But watch this video till the end so that you understand how to use GitLab as your source code repository along with creating the CI with GitLab itself. So if you look at the diagram here, I'm going to explain you all of these things today and I'll try to keep it as informative and as simple as possible. Firstly, I'll show you how to create an account with GitLab. I think that most of you already know, but still we'll try to create account and we will import a project into GitLab. So you can use my project, whichever I'm going to show. And after that, I'm going to explain what is the Java project that we are using and what exactly it does. So it's going to be a Spring Boot microservice because everybody is asking a project on microservice. So I decided that I'm going to explain a Spring Boot microservice Java project. Then I'm going to show you high level understanding of what the Spring Boot application will not take more than 2 minutes, where I'll explain you what happens if you execute this project. After that, we will do a CI explanation. So I'm going to show you how to do and how to create a CI file in the GitLab. But important things are after that, where how do you create a runner for GitLab? See, you are writing a CI file for GitLab, but how do you execute this CI? In Jenkins, for example, if you people are familiar with Jenkins, what you usually do is you create a worker node for Jenkins, right? Whereas GitLab offers you two things similar to GitHub Actions. One is you can use GitLab using the self-hosted runner, which we are going to do today. And the other thing is GitLab also offers you the runners. So these runners are hosted by GitLab and they own the runners. So I always tell you, it depends upon your project where you want to choose the GitLab hosted runners or you want to use the self-hosted runners. But most of the organizations use the self-hosted runners. So that's why today's CI demo will be on the self-hosted runners. We will create an EC2 instance and we will add that EC2 instance as a runner. So I'll show you the configuration for adding the runner as well. But not just creating the EC2 instance, we have to do a lot more guys here because we need to install Docker. We need to install SonarQube and configure the SonarQube. We need to provide the configuration for the GitLab runner. And finally, we also have to configure the traffic rules. So I'll show you all of these things, how to achieve. And then like I told you, we will use the Docker executor. So what is Docker executor? On top of this EC2 instance, which you have configured as a runner for GitLab, similar to Jenkins, where you create an EC2 instance as a worker node. But depending upon your requirement, you can use a Docker agent or you can use a virtual machine agent. Similarly, because using Docker agents or Docker executors is the most efficient way, because they are very light in weight in nature and you can configure your Docker executor for different projects. So that's why I'm also going to show you how to create this Docker executor on the EC2 instance that you have created. Finally, I'll explain you the CI file and also show you how to run the CI file. So the part 2 of this video will cover this part where we will see how to upload this Docker image. And once the Docker image is uploaded, we will use Argo CD to deploy that onto the Kubernetes cluster. So this part I have already explained the exact same part in Jenkins and 90% of it will remain the same for GitLab as well. So that's why this part I'll take it in a different video where this part needs special attention. So that's where I'm going to talk today. Again, so this is the end-to-end CI/CD pipeline that we are going to cover, where the CI part will be till here. What we will cover is how to use the GitLab as an account, as a source code repository, and how to put your code. You can use any of your Java application, but I would suggest to use my Java application that I'm going to show you here because it's a Spring Boot Java application. If you already have a Spring Boot Java application, which is in a good state, then I don't mind. You can also use that. Then I'll show you how to write a pom.xml for it and how to build that project using the pom.xml, where we will use the Maven. I think, of course, most of you are waiting for this. to show, for me to explain how to use Maven as a build language in GitLab. So I'm going to show you that what are the Maven targets that are required, how to use the GitLab CI file for using this Maven targets. And finally, we will use SonarQube. I will create my own SonarQube server on the EC2 instance that we have created, and we will do the code scanning for this Java application that we have written. So this is what we are going to do as part of CI. And in the CD part, we will cover the Docker image, how to update the Docker image, and how to deploy it onto a Kubernetes cluster using Argo CD. If you want, you can add more stages here. You can also do code security here using Trivi, or if you have any sash dash. Those are all, once you understand this entire process, adding more steps is just like adding one more item to it, but nothing more than that. So it is very important to understand this part today. And probably once you understand, as an assignment, you can take it and add one more stage for Trivi, or probably if you want to use Snyk, you can use Snyk for Docker image scanning after this part, whatever you would like to. So because we have to cover all of these things, let's quickly go onto our GitLab. So if you do not have a GitLab instance, okay, or if you don't have, see, GitLab can be self-hosted, or you can also use the open source version of gitlab.com. So what I will do is firstly show you how to create an account with gitlab.com. Again, this is not a rocket science. All that you need to do is go here, subscribe for the get free trial. And once you do that, it will ask you for simple information. Let's say you don't want to provide all of these things and take a lot of time. You can also use this one called GitHub. So you can sign in to your GitLab using your GitHub authentication. Okay, this is a very simple thing that GitLab offers you. And I'm also using this one where I have signed into GitLab using GitHub. Or you can also use your Google accounts. Perfect. Once you do that, you will get a GitLab UI, something similar to this, where I have logged into my GitLab using the Abhishek.Veeramalla, I am Veeramalla, which is my GitHub account. Okay, so I have logged into GitLab using the GitHub authentication. So all of these things, there is no extra effort required. All that you need to do is click the buttons and go there. But after this comes the interesting part. Where do you get the Java project from? There are multiple resources on the internet for Java projects, but most of them, what I've heard from you people, where you have tried to use some other Java projects, they don't get executed, or you run into some issues which you have to fix it by yourself. Instead, use this Java project that I'm going to show you here, which is a Spring Boot Java application. I've written this Java application, which is a very, very, very simple one. And I use the same Java project even in our ultimate CI/CD example as well. So if you are new to our channel, let's say, and if you are not aware of the ultimate CI/CD pipeline that we have done on Jenkins, which contains the CI/CD everything right from installation of Jenkins to deploying the application onto the Kubernetes. So you can follow the ultimate CI/CD pipeline. Go to my channel Abhishek.Veeramalla, go to the videos section, and this is the one here. Within 1 month, there are 53K people who have viewed this, and trust me, hundreds of people have implemented this pipeline. You can also check my LinkedIn, where people have continuously posted that, Abhishek, thanks for this. I have implemented this one using the example that you have shared on the YouTube. So you can also try this if you are aspiring DevOps engineer and looking for Jenkins examples. You can take this as reference. Don't worry, I'll put the link in description as well. Now, I am trying to use the same example, same Java project. So what is this Java project? On a high level, this is a very simple Spring Boot application. Even if you see here, so what does a Spring Boot microservice do? A microservice is a very minimalistic or lightweight or independently managed application, which can be deployed, created, destroyed without the dependency of the other microservices. For example, you can consider, if Amazon.com is an entire website, you can take login as a microservice, logout as a microservice, where if tomorrow a developer at Amazon.com wants to make a change to the login application, he can do it without disturbing or without making any changes to the logout application. And your CI or your CD that you have built, CI/CD solution, will redeploy with the new version of the login application that the developer has changed, right? So this is how a microservice and the CI/CD of a microservice is managed. So in this case, what is this? This is a very simple test application. I have also provided the steps of how to run this application locally. Let's say before executing this CI/CD pipeline, you want to try it locally. Again, I have shared this entire thing in the Jenkins Ultimate CI/CD pipeline. I have showed you by running this application, so that's why I'm not taking extra effort to show you this example one more time, because that will be duplicated for the subscribers who already know this. Okay, so the requirement is you need to have Java 11 on your local machine if you want to try it. If you don't want to try it and if you want to proceed with the CI/CD example, then there is no problem. So this one here, there is src folder, and I have created a simple package called Abhishek, and inside this there is a very simple start application.java file, and what it does is it will render, or it will get few values from the template, and it will print. When you execute this one, there will be a very simple HTML page. It's a static HTML page which will render this information. What is the title, what is the message, and it will update you, the user who is trying to execute, on the port 8081. It will say, I have successfully deployed the end-to-end application using Maven, and I have deployed the application onto Kubernetes using Argo CD. Even if you run this on your local, you will get the same information, because I have hard coded this and rendering few values. Like this is the value that controller is passing to the view. So this is the controller, and if you go here in the templates, this is the view where I am receiving these values, right? So this is how a Spring Boot application works. Let's not go into the details of it because it's irrelevant to the video, and it might disturb the viewing experience of people who want to learn CI/CD. But if you still want to understand this, you can go to my Jenkins Ultimate CI/CD Pipeline video and you can understand this flow as well. So once you get this repository, you can simply fork this repository. You can start this repository. If once you create your GitLab CI/CD account, just fork the repository. You can use this fork button, and you will get this entire project onto your GitLab organization or onto your GitLab namespace. So, like I told you, this is what we are going to do today. This step is done. How to create a GitLab account, how to import the project, and I have explained you the Java project as well. It's a Spring Boot Java project. Then comes adding runner and creating the CI file. So I'll take the add runner part first, so that I have to do a lot of configuration here, right? Why are we adding a runner? Again, to take the example, if you want to compare it with Jenkins, in Jenkins, what you usually do is you create your Jenkins instance. And if you want to use the master for running the application, you can do that. But most of the cases, what you do is you add a worker node for your Jenkins, and you execute your Jenkins pipelines, the Groovy scripting Jenkins pipelines, on this worker node. Sorry again. So you will execute this Jenkins pipeline on the worker nodes. But coming to the hosted solutions like GitLab, or coming to the solutions like GitHub Actions, you have two options. One is you can create your own runner, which is equivalent to worker node in Jenkins, or equivalent to agent in Jenkins. Or you can use the hosted runners that are provided by GitLab or GitHub, which is an added advantage, right? You don't get that advantage with Jenkins, but GitLab or GitHub is offering you that advantage. Okay, so how do you take that advantage? It's very simple. If you go to the settings option here, then go to the CI/CD option here. I hope the screen is visible. I'll just try to increase the font. Then you have an option here called runners. Okay, so expand this section for runners. What you will see is two options. Do you want to configure your own project runners, or do you want to use the shared runners? Okay, so if you want to use the shared runners, you can use it. If you want to use the project runners, you can use it as well. So it's up to you, whatever you would like to use. Either use the project runners or use the shared runners, depending upon your project. If I have to put that in a very easy way, probably if you're using an open source project, or if your code is public, then you can simply go for the shared runners, because there is no problem with using shared runners in that case, because your code is already open and you know what are the security concerns that will raise if you're using the shared runners. Whereas if you are an MNC, if you're an organization, you should not be using the shared runners, because shared runners are hosted by GitLab and you don't get the complete information of it. You don't know where are the shared runners. You don't know what exactly is happening to your code with the shared runners. So it is always good to have your project runners configured. And this is a registration token, which is secret, but don't worry. Once this demo is done, I'll reset the registration token. So there is no problem for me to share the registration token. Done. So you understood the concept of shared runners and project runners, right? Now let's use the project runners because it requires additional configuration. It requires you have to do a lot. I mean, you have to do a lot of things with shared runners, sorry, project runners. So that's why I'm going to show you the project runners example. So firstly, go to your AWS account and create an EC2 instance. And keep in mind that this EC2 instance should not be a free tier EC2 instance because it cannot run with all of these things. Like, you need to configure Docker executor, you need to have SonarQube that is running on it. So one CPU and one RAM memory is not sufficient. So what I'll do is whenever I'm launching instance, to understand or to demonstrate the GitLab CI, GitLab CI CD, I will use the T2 medium, which is next one. Do not even go for T2 large because this is a demo videos and you are trying to practice, you are trying to simulate real-time environments. So there is no requirement of you using T2 large. You don't create a lot of dashboards in Sonar, so that's fine. So I'll call this one as GitLab, the EC2 instance, select Ubuntu, and here choose the instance type, not as T2 micro, but choose the instance type as, sorry, yep, T2 medium. Select an existing key value pair. I don't mind creating one more key value pair, but that's fine. I can use GitHub Actions demo, CI/CD pipeline that we have demonstrated in the previous class. So I'll use the same GitHub Actions demo key value pair. But if you want to create one more, you can do that as well. Launch the instance. After that comes few important things. That is, what are the ports or what is the traffic that you need to open? So I already know what traffic to open. I'm going to explain you, but if it is your first time, you can understand this traffic rules once you configure all of these tools. But I'm going to explain you right now that if you are using SonarQube, SonarQube runs on port 9000, right? So you need to open the port 9000, and moreover, there is a communication between your EC2 instance and GitLab, right? So if this is your AWS and this is your GitLab, there is some sort of communication that needs to happen. Probably if GitLab has to, your project has to run on EC2, and then the runner, the EC2 instance runner using Docker executor, it has to send some information back to GitLab saying that, oh, okay, I executed and most of the things have passed or few things have failed. So this information EC2 instance has to send back, or the runner has to send back to GitLab. So for that reason, you need to open port 9000 for Sonar, and also you need to open few ports, that is HTTP and HTTPS traffic on the AWS instance for inbound and outbound traffic rules. So this is exactly what I'm going to show you right now. So go to your instance. Then in your instance, there is option for security groups. Go to the security groups here, instance ID. After that, what you will do is go with the security tab, and inside the security tab, you have inbound and outbound traffic rules, right? So firstly, let's start with inbound traffic rules. Like I told you, in the inbound traffic rules, where is this one? Security groups, yeah. So in the inbound traffic rules, I'll open port 80, port 443, and also I'll open the port 9000. So for the purpose of demo, what you can also do is edit the inbound traffic rules and open all the traffic, because it will take a little amount of time. So I just want to save that time, and I have configured all traffic, but do not do this one. In your demo part or in your project or the GitHub, the README file that you prepare or LinkedIn summary that you're going to post, do not say that open all traffic, but say the exact ports that are required to be opened. So save rules. I have opened all the traffic for incoming EC2 instance traffic, and then I'll do the same thing with the outbound. So that way you can also allow the traffic that is flowing from the EC2 instance to GitLab. Edit outbound traffic rules. Add rule. Just say all traffic coming from any IP address and save the configuration. There was, oh, okay. There is no problem. Already you have the similar traffic rule that is configured. So now every incoming traffic and the outgoing traffic is configured for my EC2 instance. Now go to the EC2 instance, click on the instances section. Right now my EC2 instance is up and running and the security groups are also configured. So let's proceed with the installation part. Now, why do you have to install all of these things? I hope you already understood. because we are going to perform the CI stage where we need Maven, we need SonarQube for code analysis. And how do you get this Maven? So we are going to use the Docker executor. What is Docker executor? I have made one full video of using Docker executors or Docker agents as your worker nodes in Jenkins, or if you're talking about GitLab, as your executors for running the CI process in GitLab or GitHub. The reason for that is if you are using this Docker executors or if you're using this Docker agents against the traditional virtual machine agents, you can get a lot of advantage. One is security, second is configuration. You don't have to configure a lot of things again and again in multiple VMs, and because these are lightweight in nature, they can run multiple pipelines parallelly, right? If you have one worker node, let's say that you have configured for Jenkins, you can run only two pipelines or you can run only two jobs. Similarly, if you have only one virtual machine that you are using for GitLab as a runner, the problem would be if one Java application is running on it, then you cannot run the other Java application because of some probably these two Java applications have different versions, or these two Java applications have different dependency packages, so they'll mess up with one another. If you are using a Docker agent or Docker executor, the advantage is that you can use the same single virtual machine that I've created and run hundreds of pipelines or run hundreds of jobs. So that's why always go with the Docker executors or always go with the Docker agents, irrespective of the CI solution that you're using, whether it's Jenkins, GitHub Actions, or GitLab, anything. So I'm not bothering about installing Maven or configuring Maven because the Docker image that I'm going to use as executor will already have Maven. I'm going to show you how is that as well. I've already created that Docker Maven image, and I've also used that in the Jenkins example, and I'm also going to use today. That is a public image, so you can also use it. There is no problem. So let's proceed with the first steps of installation here. Where is this one? Perfect. What are we going to install first? The EC2 instance is configured. Now let's proceed with the installing Docker. Why we need to install Docker? Because we are going to use Docker executor on this specific EC2 instance. So to create a Docker instance, you would need Docker to be running on that EC2 instance. So let's get the terminal. If you already know some of these steps, then you can forward the video, just that you don't get bored with the video, or just that you don't yeah, just forward the video. Okay, so what is the instance configuration here? The IP address. Let's get the IP address. Perfect. Now let me use the same key value pair that I already have and log into the instance. Perfect. So I have logged into the instance. It will just ask me for the fingerprint authentication. I'll say yes. And now I'm into the EC2 instance. So let's proceed with the creation of Docker. Of course, first of all, you need to update the packages before you create any you create any package or you install any package. You have to make sure that your apt repos or your relevant package manager repos are updated. It will not take much time. So the apt repos are updated. After that, sudo apt install docker.io. Okay, now I have installed Docker. While this gets installed, let's go and see what will be our next step in the Figma. So our next step would be to install and configure SonarQube. Many people have this problem of, okay, now how do I install, configure SonarQube? I don't know the steps for it. So I have a very minimalistic steps that will install and run SonarQube on that EC2 instance. And I will make sure that the Docker executor that we are using for running the pipeline talks to the SonarQube. So I'll show you how that also happens. You need some authentication. You need the SonarQube API key, and you can store that as a secret, not as a variable. I'll also show you how to secure the sensitive information in GitLab. So I'll store that API token in a secret, and I'll talk to SonarQube, and Maven will push the generated dashboards onto the SonarQube. So we'll see all of these things. But how do you do that? So I have detailed steps here. If you go to the repository, and if you go to the README file, this is the repository. Go to the README file and scroll down. whatever I'm explaining here, everything is part of this README document. Let's say you are not able to follow this video, then you can go back and reference the README document as well. But coming to the SonarQube part, I have very clear instructions on how to install SonarQube. This is a very minimalistic. I don't have any database that is attached to SonarQube, and this is a very easy way of installing and configuring SonarQube. Let's go back. Perfect. Docker is installed. Now, firstly, I need to install unzip package. So let me go to the root user so that I don't have to use sudo all the time. First is apt install unzip. So I've installed unzip, then create a user for SonarQube. Let me do that. Select a password. Done. Done. So now there is a user Sonar. So let me go to that user. Okay. I want to run SonarQube with that user. So I'll go to the user called SonarQube. Perfect. Then wget get the required package for SonarQube. This package has everything to run the SonarQube server. This is a zip file, so I have to extract the zip file. So I can use the unzip command that I've installed before. Perfect. Now once this is done, what would be my next step is to grant permissions to this folder, because I'm going to execute a few things in this folder. Okay. Now I move to the package where the Sonar start server script is present. So this is a script for starting the Sonar server. All that I need to do is use I can just say /sonar.sh followed by start. The same instruction is available in the document as well. Now here you should see that SonarQube starting and failed to start SonarQube. Okay, no problem. Let's see why SonarQube has failed. Okay, I understood the reason why SonarQube has failed, because SonarQube has a prerequisite for Java and we did not install Java. Okay, so for that reason, what you need to do is go back. I have mentioned that in the document, but I have missed while explaining. So you can install Java as a prerequisite, which I forgot. No problem. Let me go back to the root user, install Java. It will not take much time. Java is installed. Okay, once Java is installed, you can verify the Java installation and go back and start the Sonar server. Okay, many people are asking me, I'm not able to start the Sonar server. This can be possibly one of the reasons. Unfortunately, I also ran into the same error, fortunately or unfortunately, in the demo, and I realized that is because I did not install Java. Okay, so go back to the SonarQube user, sudo su -SonarQube. So I'm back to the SonarQube user. Now what I'll do is, let's go to the folder where the installation script is present, bin. I'm on the Linux, so I'll use Linux folder. Start sonar.sh star. Now it said Sonar has started. You can verify the status of Sonar using the status option. It said SonarQube is running. Now SonarQube by default runs on the port 9000. That's the reason why we expose the port 9000. All that you need to do to verify is go back to your EC2 instance. What is the IP of your EC2 instance? Followed by, so use that HTTP IP of my EC2 instance :9000. So this way, I have logged into the SonarQube. I have created the SonarQube. Now I'll quickly show you how to get the API token and use that in GitLab. And within next 5 minutes, our CI part will be done. I'm going to show you the Maven part, explain the pom.xml, explain the pom.xml, and also the Maven targets that we are using. Finally, how to push this onto the SonarQube, the dashboard. The default password is admin. But once you log in, it will ask you to configure a new password for SonarQube just for the security purpose. Choose anything that you would like to. The old password has to be admin, and then you can enter the new password here. I think I mistyped it. Perfect. I have updated the Sonar password, and right now there are no dashboards in it. If you see here in projects, there are no projects right now that are available. And I'm going to create a project for the Java application, and there will be a dashboard which says how many number of errors are available in the project. Go to my account here, go to security, enter name of a token that you would like to. Why I'm creating this token? Again, it is very important for you people to understand why are we doing these steps. So why are we doing this? Because In the CI step, what we are doing is we are asking SonarQube to perform code scanning, or we are asking SonarQube to perform analysis on our code. If SonarQube has to do this, then it needs to have authentication to the source code that is present in GitLab, right? Because GitLab has to push the configuration to SonarQube. So that's why what I'll do is I will create an authentication token, API token in SonarQube, and grant that permission to GitLab. Okay, so GitLab generate token. This is the token that got generated. Don't worry, I'll delete this SonarQube instance, so there is no problem sharing this token with you all people. Just copy this, store this somewhere. Perfect. Now I've stored the token. The next thing that you will do is go ahead and secure this password as a sensitive information in your GitLab. But before I explain that, many people might not understand the CI process itself. So I'll take some time in explaining the CI process. Then I'll show you how to secure sensitive information that is in your CI. So unlike Jenkins, in Jenkins, what we'll do is inside the root of the project, we'll create a file called Jenkins file. Whereas in GitLab, we'll create a file called .gitlabci.yaml. In GitHub, we'll create a folder called workflows, and inside that we'll put your workflows, any number of workflows that are present. So depending upon the CI tool that we are using, there are different processes. In GitLab, like I told you, you will create a file called .gitlab-ci.yaml. And this is the CI file that I've written. I have commented the CD part intentionally because this will be part of the next demo if you want. If you people already can follow the Jenkins pipeline, and if you think that CD part is not required, then put that in the comment section so that I'll not waste your time and I'll not reiterate, I'll not repeat the steps for the CD process one more time. But the CI part is divided into 4 stages. So what I've done is I said I want to install code quality. Okay, let's come from the top. So this is the image that I want to use as a runner. Okay, so what I want to do here, this is the image that I want to use as a Docker executor. Now don't worry, we haven't created the Docker executor on the EC2 instance. There is a reason for that. Firstly, I want to show you with the shared runners, or okay, that's also okay. I can, after explaining the CI file, I can show you how to add the executor onto the EC2 instance. But this is the image that I'm saying that I want to use as a Docker executor. The reason for that is I have created a custom image which already has Maven installed, so that I don't have to install Maven again and again, or people who are following the demo, they can use this same thing. The reason is, even in your project, you might have hundreds of Java applications and everything is using Maven. Why do you want to reinstall Maven again and again? So that's why create a Docker image. Instead of using base images like Ubuntu latest or something, create your own Docker image which you want to use as a Docker executor. Or you can use my image as well. Just retag it and you can use it. And then in the variables, you can provide the information, whatever you would like to. In our case, I want to just provide the information of Sonar variables, like what is the Sonar host, what is the authentication token. And if you see here, I have provided a variable here. And where does this variable get referenced from? This get referenced from your CI/CD secrets in GitLab. This is one additional feature that GitLab offers you, that you can put your sensitive information inside the environment variable, inside the CI/CD variables. All that you need to do is go to the settings tab, click on CI/CD, take it in a new tab. Here, if you scroll down, there is an option for variables. Just expand and you can save your variables here. In my case, I have stored the Sonar API token. I was doing a demo for CD as well. So I have Docker username, Docker password, every sensitive information that's part of your CI file. You have to create a section called variables, and you have to store this section. I mean, store all the environment variables under this section. Perfect. After this, if you have anything in the before script, what is before script? Before executing your CI. Okay. If you want to perform any step, you can put that as part of your before scripts. In my case, the source code is not directly available in the root folder. It is available inside a folder called Java, Maven, etc., followed by Spring Boot app. So that's why I switched to the directory where the source code is present, so that every time inside all the stages, I don't have to repeat. Now, finally, the important part, what are the stages, right? So this is the key part of your CI/CD pipeline. Stages are nothing. Stages are basically, you are trying to build your CI/CD pipeline, right? So entire CI/CD pipeline will not be built in one stage. So you will divide it into multiple pieces. First piece will be check out the code. Second piece will be build the code. What is build? Use the Maven target to create your Java artifact. The third step will be to deploy it somewhere, or run the static code analysis, or run linting, or run some additional probably dashed sash settings. Anything that you would like to, you will divide into multiple stages. For basic understanding, let's say you are a beginner, I'll take one simple example. Let's say there is a login application for Amazon.com, and you are writing this entire CI/CD pipeline for login application. What happens? Sorry, what happens is, for this login application, you will try to build multiple stages to verify that your CI, that your build process is right, and more than that, the changes that developer has made are valid. For example, developer has made one new validation to the login page. You have to verify that existing tests are passing. Only then your CI stage will pass. You have to verify that there are no security implications that this code is bringing into your existing application. Or you have to verify that the build is successful, and you can create a jar file, war file, or any particular file out of it. So this is your CI/CD multiple steps. In my case, I have a build stage. Exactly, using Maven, I'll build a jar file. Then I have a test stage where I'll test the application to verify that the code change does not disturb any existing unit tests. Then SonarQube stage, where I'll pass the application to Sonar. I'll execute some static code analysis steps, and I'll push the dashboard to the SonarQube that I've just created. Dockerization, I don't want right now, because I don't want to demonstrate CD as part of it. So just let me comment the CD part very quickly. So just remove this Dockerization part. I think that's much easier. So right now there are only 3 stages. Let me commit this one. Perfect. Now it is committed. The only step that is required before executing the CI is I have to use Docker executor on this EC2 instance. If you go back to Figma, we have created Docker, we have created SonarQube, we have opened the traffic rules. Only thing that is left is the GitLab runner. Now, how do you do that? Go to your GitLab again and go to the CI/CD section inside settings. Here you have something called as runners, as I explained, and there are detailed steps that are available. Just click on show runner installation instructions. Our runner is a Linux runner. So let's get the terminal back. Let's go to the root user. Sudo su hyphen. We are to the root user. Now execute the steps as it is. You don't have to change anything here, and your runner will be configured. Just grant the permissions for your runner binary. Then add some comments. What is this runner? What are you exactly doing? Then install the runner service. And finally, we need to start the runner service. Okay. So to start the runner service, what you will do is you will execute this command and register the runner with your GitLab. Okay. These steps are just copy paste. You don't have to worry about it. Only thing is just replace the registration token with the registration token that you see on your screen here. Now the GitLab runner is also configured. It will ask you for just some information which you want to override. What should be the name of your runner? Do you want to make any changes? Just provide the runner as Docker runner. That's the only thing, and press on the enter. Enter the default Docker image. Sorry, this is again something that you have to do. The default Docker image should be the image that you are using as part of your job. Okay, because this is your Docker executor image, right? Provide that information, and now it said that everything is configured. Right now you can start using the Docker executor. Let's see if the pipeline gets succeeded. Now to succeed the pipeline, what are we doing? Firstly, we are using the mvn clean package to build the package. After that, we are using mvn test, the Maven target, to test the package. And finally, if you notice here, this is the Sonar target, which is using this Sonar host URL, which we have configured in the variables as sensitive information. And this is the password that we have got from the authentication token. What will be the URL? EC2 instance colon port 9000. That's it. Now go to the project and click on CI/CD pipelines, and just try to run the pipelines or make any code change. The pipelines will get executed automatically. Anything that you would like to. So already it is running because we made a simple change, right? We commented the Dockerization part, but that's okay. I don't want to show you with that example. I can run the pipeline one more time so that you get clear understanding of what is happening under the hood. Now it said that the pipeline, okay, I don't want to pass any variables. Just click on run pipeline. Now the pipeline will run and you will notice that there are 3 stages that it is trying to build. The build stage, test stage, and SonarQube stage. Okay, so this is currently in pause pending state because there is another pipeline that is getting run. That was because of our previous change that I've just explained. I commented the Dockerization part, right? So because of which the pipeline is running. So go to the pipelines and you can kill the previous pipeline or wait till the previous pipeline execution is done. Go to this one here and you can stop it from here as well. Just click on cancel running so that you don't have to wait. Stop pipeline. So as soon as this pipeline gets stopped, the other pipeline starts running because the executor is free, right? Just give it a second. I think it's still taking time to realize that the previous one, or I can rerun as well, but that's fine. See, now it started running. It says in progress or running. So while this gets run, once the first step is successful, only then it will move to the next step because that's a default behavior of the CI/CD pipelines. And we will see that build step will be done, test step will be done, and also the SonarQube step will also be done. But if you want to see what is happening in the build job, just open this in a new tab and you can see what is happening here. So Maven was trying to get all the required information to build, and finally it said that the job is succeeded. It provided everything that is part of the pom.xml to the Spring Boot web application, and it has built the package. Now, if you go back, you will notice, where is it here? Sorry, if you click on this one more time, you will notice that the next step should also be done by now. Yeah, unit test is also done. Again, Maven has executed the ambient test. And finally, once this is done, I'll show you a new dashboard on our SonarQube. Meanwhile, we can see what is getting executed here. So this is the command that is getting executed. What is this command? This is the same command that we have passed in the CI/CD pipeline. So see here that GitHub is not showing the sensitive information because we have secured the sensitive information. If you did not secure the sensitive information, anybody who is running this pipeline, they can see what is your Sonar host URL and what is your SonarQube API token, which is a security threat. Okay, it says the SonarQube server was not able to reach. Perfect. I know the reason why, because I did not update the pipeline with the latest SonarQube URL. I just used the previous one when I was trying the demo by myself. So all that I need to do is go back to the CI/CD environment variables here one more time and update the password. Update the URL. Variables, go to the Sonar login one here, reveal variables, that's fine, and edit. So update the API token with the new API token. First one, what you will do is go here, my account. I think I've already shown, but I think I forgot to update. No problem. I can try it one more time. API token generate, copy this API token and replace that in the CI/CD environment variables. I think I explained, but I forgot to update. Update variable. Awesome. And inside your CI/CD file as well, you need to update your Sonar host. So this one here, I need to update the Sonar host URL, which I forgot, right? So you can open edit in IDE, get your SonarQube URL, the one here. Go back to your EC2, this one, IDE, GitLab CI.YAML, and update the one. And just commit the changes. I'm fine to commit directly to the main branch because this is just a demo. And now the CI pipeline will automatically run. I don't have to run the CI pipeline because I've made a change, right? So the CI pipeline will automatically run while this is running, and I'll come back and show you that the CI has successfully completed, and I'll show you the new dashboard in the Sonar. But before that, let me just take a minute to explain the pom.xml. So usually pom.xml is not written by the DevOps engineers, just to be clear. But in some organization, DevOps engineers write the pom.xml, but they can take the help of developers. Okay, what's inside the pom.xml is the dependencies that are required to build your application. The reason why DevOps engineers don't write this pom.xml is because DevOps engineer might not have complete picture of what the dependencies are required. Okay, so that's why it is essential for you to collaborate with the engineers, the developers, and understand what goes into this CI pipeline. Okay, or what goes into the pom.xml. But this information you can write by yourself. What is the artifact name? What is the artifact ID? What is the version that you would like to? This one here. So that this gets saved, the artifact, the jar file, war file that you have created gets saved with the same representation com.abhishek.spring boot demo colon 1.0 in your artifactory, whether it's Nexus artifactory, whether it's JFrog artifactory. In my case, I don't have the artifactory. I did not create one because my end goal is to create a Docker image, but not create the jar file war file. I want to take this jar file war file and put that in the Docker image. So I don't have to use Nexus or any other artifactory. So now let's go back and see if the build job is successful or not. So go to CI/CD pipelines and let's see the latest pipeline. If it is successful, we should see a dashboard in SonarQube. Awesome. It said passed. Click on the pass and see if each and every job is successful. Obviously, it will be. So build job is successful. Unit test job is successful. Code quality job is successful. Go to the code quality job and you can get the dashboard URL instead of directly searching that on SonarQube. So it says this is the dashboard URL. Just open that and you will notice that there is a new dashboard which says the code gate status, the quality gates have passed and there are no bugs, there are no vulnerabilities with my code. Of course, because I've written a very simple application and I don't want to embarrass myself in front of all of you. Just kidding. Yeah, so that's why there are no bugs, but in your real time, you will notice some bugs, you will notice some vulnerabilities, and these dashboards can be used to fix the vulnerabilities. And moreover, if your new change is bringing in some vulnerabilities and bugs, you can also inform your developers or fail the CI pipeline saying that there are new bugs with the existing CI pipeline, with the existing code commit that you have made. So this is the demo which we have covered with all the CI aspects, right from installation, configuration. I hope you enjoyed the demo and put that in the comment section if you want to take a look at CD, or you can watch my Jenkins Ultimate CI/CD pipeline and you can do CD by yourself. Anything, I'll take your input, which is very valuable to me, and I'll decide if I have to do that video or not. But thank you so much for watching the video. Really appreciate your time, and the CI/CD week was very special for me as well because I got to just revise all the CI/CD tools again, Jenkins, GitHub Actions, and GitLab for myself. And I've also explained to you people so that everybody is benefited. That's why I keep saying, keep learning, keep sharing. Thank you so much. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please subscribe to my channel, Abhishek.Veeramalla. Let's grow together and let's build a wonderful DevOps community. Thank you so much. I'll see you all in the next video. Take care. Bye.